But Genesis 32, 24, 30, yeah?
Yeah, so my question is just so the man was God and he lost. So how can God lose
Okay, God
to?
bless, right? Man. This was the first UFC match,
Yeah.
and God lost the championship.
Mm.
You see, the man touched Jacob's socket, right?
His yeah, yeah.
And then he made Jacob crippled the rest of his life, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's why the Jews do not eat the meat from that area, the Sinu, in honor
Yeah.
of Jacob. What does it tell you about the power of the man? If one touch, he can make him cripple.
Yeah. Okay, I
That means
see.
what can
Yeah.
he do to him?
Yeah, can eat him up. Yeah. Okay, that's
So
good.
why didn't he not eat him up? I'm going to explain it.
Yeah.
So he's asking about how did God lose the first UFC championship?
Hmm.
All right. How did God lose the first UFC championship? All right, let's go through this. I've talked about this, but we'll talk about it again. Okay, let's hear. First of all, God already shows you that he could kill him if he wanted to.
Yeah.
It says, and he saw that he had not prevailed against, so he touched the socket of his thigh, and so the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated while he wrestled with him. Now watch, 31, 32. And the sun rose up upon him just as he crossed over Penuel, and he was limping on his thigh. He left him a cripple. Okay, watch here. Therefore, to this day, the sons of Israel did not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh and the sinew of the hip. So right there, you're told that this man could have just killed them, snapped them with one touch. One snap. What if he touched his neck? What would he have done to him?
Send him to Abraham.
Exactly. Now, why did he lose? Because I'm going to give you the picture. You have a son and you wrestle your son. You don't
Hmm.
make it too easy for him, but not too hard. And you make sure that he earns it. You make him sweat and fight until he pins you.
Hmm.
Because you want to teach your son a lesson, right? You want to help your son. You want to train your son. You want to discipline your son. You want to strengthen your son, correct?
Hmm.
So the point of this wrestling match, this is the point. Jacob, if you've been reading from Genesis, if you read from Genesis 29 all the way through. In fact, if you start in Genesis 25, but 29, it starts a bit. Start in Genesis 27. Because 25 is when Isaac marries Rebecca, and he's 6 years old, and she gets pregnant with twins, right? And gives birth to twins. And if you start from 27 on, you're going to see a story. Jacob and his mother are plotting, deceiving, conniving, and lying to get their way, right?
Hmm.
Because what did Jacob do with the help of his mother to get Isaac to bless him? She
Um,
killed a goat, right? Took the skin of the goat, put it on Jacob, and then gave Isaac stew. And then when he went and he told the father, Isaac, bless me, because Isaac's eyes had gone dim. He couldn't see, right? You with me there?
hmm.
Isaac's eyes went dim, couldn't see. When he went there, he touched him. He goes, the hair is Esau, but the voice is Jacob. Because Jacob pretended to be someone he's not. He goes, bless me, father. And he blessed him because Isaac loved Esau more than he loved Jacob. But Rebekah loved Jacob more than she loved Esau. Who was Rebekah's favorite? Jacob.
Uh, Jacob.
Who was Isaac's favorite? Esau. Now, Esau was like a warrior, a hunter, man's man. So he told Esau, go and fetch me some stew. So that means Esau went hunting in order to get an animal in order to make stew for his father, right?
Hmm.
During that time, Rabka helped Jacob make stew and put goat hair on him to deceive Isaac into thinking this is Jacob. So he blessed him and gave him the blessing of the firstborn. Listen, Esau comes and Isaac's like, who is this? He goes, it's me, Esau. How can it be you? You're already here. What do you mean? Oh man, your brother came and pretended to be you, and I gave him the blessing. And he started crying. You gave him the blessing of the firstborn? Bless me. He goes, yes, I can't revoke that blessing. So too bad, so sad. I blessed your brother ahead of you, and you will now serve him, meaning your descendants will be a servant to Jacob's descendant. And Esau was angry and swore to murder Jacob. You guys listening to the background? I got to give you the background. May the Spirit help me recall the facts perfectly, destroy all error and sin in me, and protect me to give you the truth, and we live it. Glory to the Father and the Spirit. So everyone with me so far? Jacob is now afraid. He has to take off. He flees. So Rabka sends him to her brother's house, Laban. I got to give you the history now, right? You guys okay with this? I got to give you a Bible lesson. So you got to understand the background. Jacob ends up at his mother's brother's home. Laban is his uncle from his mother's side. Rabka, Laban are brother, sister. So he starts working for Laban. Laban turns out to be a conniver and deceiver who cheats Jacob out of his wages. So you see, the principle in the Bible is called reaping what you sow. What you plant, you're going to get back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same measure used will be used against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Rabka and Jacob deceived Isaac. Now Jacob is going to find a deceiver who makes him look humble. Someone who's now going to deceive the deceiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he made a deal with Laban because he had two daughters, Leah and Rachel. Leah and Rachel. So he fell in love with Rachel because it says, if you read the scripture, Genesis 29 and 30, it says that Leah's eyes were not that fair. She wasn't as pretty as her younger sister. Rachel was beautiful, and Jacob was in love with Rachel. Oh, she was the Monica Bellucci, Kim Kardashian of her day. You with me there?
Mm-hmm.
You know Monica Bellucci?
No.
Good. Don't see her because then you're going to have to go to confession. You know Kim Kardashian before she had plastic surgery?
No.
Good. Don't see her because you're going to have to go to confessions. Keep your eyes pure and virginal. Anyway, so Rachel was the Monica Bellucci. He was in love with her. So he told Laban, I want to marry her, my cousin. He goes, okay, you have to work for me for 7 years. So he worked 7 years, and it says Jacob was so in love with Rachel that the 7 years seemed like a day. That's how fast the time went, because he's thinking, I'm going to have Rachel. I'm going to have Rachel. So they celebrate for a week, wedding banquet. That time they celebrate 7 days. Ha, ho, he. Then he goes into the tent. Now, brother, remember, there is no electricity. There is no lights. You go into the tent, it's pitch dark. So then guess what Laban does, that sneak? You know what he does?
You
know what he does? He sends Leah, not Rachel, the older sister. And he can't see. It's dark. And like when Rabka saw Isaac, it says she put on a veil. So it's dark, no light. She comes in. Time to make some babies. Yeah, baby. So she goes into the tent. He sleeps with her. He gets up in the morning. And then you hear a scream from Padan Aram all the way to South America. That's how loud he screamed. Ah! It turns out it's Leah. And now he's shocked and angry. Why did you do this to me? Why did you deceive me? I worked 7 years for Rachel. He says, well, it's not our custom to marry off the younger daughter before the older one. So he says, I'll give you Rachel, but you have to work for me for another 7 years. So you see what God is teaching you?
Mm-hmm.
You reap what you sow. If you plant, you get back what you plant. So if you're planting deception, guess what's going to come back to you? Deception. If you deceive people, guess what's going to happen to you? You'll be deceived. Because there's always someone who's going to be a bigger deceiver than you, a bigger cheater than you, and smarter than you, and manipulate you, right? So Laban turned out to be an even bigger cheat and conniver than his nephew. So now he works for 14 years because he got an extra woman he didn't want. But I'm going to now, when I finish answering the question, I'm going to show you the heart of God for Leah. I'm going to show you how beautiful God is, how fair God is, how merciful God is. So I'm going to get there. So then Laban cheats him out of his wages. He's making deals with him where Laban gets more of the flock and Jacob gets less of the flock. So he's cheating him. So Jacob one night decides to escape. So he takes his 2 wives and their maidservants, because he was having sex with 4 women. The guy was busy. They had no TV back then. So, all he had to do was just when he's finished working, jump in bed with whatever he wanted. 4 women, from these 4 women, he had 12 sons. So he takes off running. Laban chases after him. But God warns Laban not to mess with him, not to harm with him. So what is the story? The story of Jacob is he has been running from his problems. He doesn't face his problems. He tries to find ways to get out of his problems, out of difficult circumstances. And the ways that he uses is to lie, deceive, and connive. So now God is going to teach him a lesson. Now the context. Now you want to know what the context is? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the context. God now appears as a man and forces him to wrestle him and teaches him, you will not be blessed by running from your problems and using trickery to escape your trials. You know when you're going to be blessed? When you stand as a man, struggle with your problems, and keep struggling until you conquer them, then you will receive the blessing. That's what he's teaching him. You got it here?
Yeah.
So that's why he says, let me go, because he's teaching Jacob, you do not let go until you get the blessing. You understand what he's teaching him here?
Mm-hmm.
Let me go. And if Jacob had let him go, he would have not received the blessing. Because when did Jacob receive the blessing? Did he receive it when his father blessed? No. He received it here when God appeared and changed his name.
Yeah.
No. When Isaac blessed him, God did not bless him, because God does not bless lies, deceit, trickery, and connivery. God doesn't bless that sin. That's why Jacob suffered all his life, because God was teaching him the consequence. And see, when you keep lying and conniving and you keep taking matters in your own hand and you use connivery to escape your problems, you're only going to delay the blessing, because I will not bless you in sin. I don't bless sin. I bless obedience, trust, faithfulness, holiness, and love.
This this also does this also count for good things? It does, right?
Say it again.
So let's say you do good things. God gives you these good things in your life too, right?
Well, it depends on what. No. You have a wrong view of God.
Oh,
Jesus did good things and they spit on him, beat him, and killed him. And it depends on why you do things. Are you doing good things because you want praise of man? You want good things so people think you're a great Christian? Or are you doing good things because you want something from God? If that's your motive, then your heart is corrupt.
okay.
No, I do good things to show my love for God. I do good things to show my trust in God. I do good things because I want to thank God for what he's already done for me and who he is. Not God, hey, I'll do this if you give me this. That's like you're making a bargain with God.
Mm,
That's sin, that's wickedness.
okay.
That's the very sin that Satan accused Job. The reason why he loves you and does what you tell him, because of the things you've given him. So you're falling for Satan's trap. Are you with me there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that we got it. Okay, so what's the God telling him? Stop. You got to face your problems. Let me go. Daybreak. See, he says, let me go. Don't, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So here Jacob is fighting and wrestling and struggling all night. That means he's sweating. He's getting tired. He's getting fatigued. He's getting physically hurt, but I won't let go. No, you're good. And he learned the lesson. And then he says this. So he said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. Then he said, your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, For you have striven with God and with men and prevailed. Now watch. Jacob, the name means deceiver. He goes, Jacob, you will no longer be known as the deceiver, because I've come to change your character. Your name, Israel, means he who wrestled with God and men, struggled with God and men, and overcame his adversity in order to now conquer and rule. You will now be known as the one who has conquered in order to gain the right to rule. But now notice what he said. He goes, because you wrestled, you've striven, you've struggled with God and men, and you overcame, you didn't give up. When did he wrestle with God and men and win? When did he wrestle with God and men and win?
Oh, it's the question to me.
No, it's for my friend Timmy. Timmy, when did he wrestle with God and men and win?
Just at this particular day in the night.
Right here. Because who appeared to him? A man who's God. So when he wrestled with the man, he wrestled with men, and he wrestled with that man, he was wrestling with God, and he won. Because this was the God man, right?
Yeah.
So here's where he's wrestling with God and men, because it's God appearing as a man. So when he wrestled the man, he wrestled with God, and he goes, now you've overcome. You've struggled with me, you didn't give up, and you didn't let me go until I blessed you. And now I showed you that's how you have to face men. You don't run from men, you face men and trust that I'm with you and you will conquer. That's the message.